the CyberHub bunker and studio. You're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the CyberHub Podcast. It's Wednesday, October 19th, 2022. And it's a chilly morning across the southern U.S. with temperatures just slightly above freezing today, meaning this show's got to be fast, quick, and warm. And in all honestness, there's nothing better on a cold morning than a beautiful double espresso. I don't know. Good cup of coffee on a cold morning. You're nice and cozy. You can log in. You can kind of start your day. That's what I've been doing for the last, 2-3 hours. And I hope y'all will join me as we get into today's show with a lot of information coming your way, including, are we headed towards cyber warfare? Some interesting news there. Coffee cup cheers, everyone. CyberHubPodcast.com. Go subscribe. Follow us on our YouTube channel or your favorite podcast listening platform. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating. We'll start with WordPress Security Update 6.0.3, which is patching 16 different vulnerabilities, including some that are cross-site scripting vulnerabilities, as well as open redirect, data exposure, cross-site request forgery, and SQL injection flaws. WordPress Security Company Define has shared a description of each of the vulnerabilities. 4 of them have a high rating, and all the rest have medium or low. One of the high severities is a stored XSS issue that can be exploited by a user who can submit posts to a website via email to inject malicious JavaScript code into the posts themselves. So you want to get your WordPress security, you want to get your WordPress update done ASAP. Oracle also releases 370 new security patches as part of its October critical patch update, resolving over 50 critical severity vulnerabilities. More than the 200 of the newly released security patches deal with vulnerabilities that are remotely exploitable and without authentication. Oracle Communication was the enterprise product to receive the largest number of fixes at 74. Of the resolved security defects, 64 can be exploited remotely without authentication, and 19 of them were rated critical severity. You guys have to understand, Oracle used it in almost every major company on the planet. It's the bread and butter of any company. These vulnerabilities have a direct impact on the business. These have to be prioritized. Fusion Middleware was the second most impacted application with 56 new security patches, including 43 dealing with flaws that are remotely exploitable without authentication. 9 of them of the resolved issues are rated critical, as well as MySQL received 37 new security patches. Retail applications and communications applications each received 27 respectively, and financial services application received 24 as well. This is impacting a whole slew of products across the Oracle product suite. So you want to make sure you get your Oracle products patched ASAP today. Experts are warning of a stealthy PowerShell backdoor that's disguising itself as a Windows update. The details that have emerged about the previously undocumented and fully undeductible PowerShell backdoor that gains its stealth by disguising itself as part of a Windows update process. The covert self-developed tool and the associated C2 command seems to be the work of a sophisticated unknown threat actor who has targeted approximately 100 victims, according to Tomer Bar at SafeBreach. Attributed to an unnamed threat actor, attacks chains involving the malware commence with a weaponized Microsoft Word document that, per the company, was uploaded from Jordan on August 25th. The metadata associated with the lower documents indicated the initial intrusion vector is a LinkedIn based spear phishing attack, which ultimately leads to an execution of a PowerShell script via a piece of embedded macro code. There's LinkedIn again there, folks. The findings come as Microsoft has taken steps to block Excel 4.0 and Visual Basic Application macros by default. So there's that. Let's get into cyber warfare. So yesterday, Secretary Mayorkas gave a speech. Secretary Mayorkas, he's the Secretary of Homeland Security, is saying that the U.S. has observed growing cybersecurity threats both at home and throughout Asia. They're warning of activity coming from, guess who? Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran. No way. You guys just figured this one out. Malicious activity from the PRC is a real and present danger, not just for the United States, but for other country. He told, and this was part of a trip while he was in Singapore. His remarks come amid heightened tensions between the U.S. and China over a whole slew of issues, from human rights to the status of Taiwan, and with President Xi in China really honing in on his power this week during the Communist Party annual gathering, the 5-year annual gathering in China, where they reappoint another totalitarian into power. Xi is seen to be consolidating his power in order to continue to rule China, no different than Mao. Beijing has obviously denied some of these, but nonetheless, we all know where China stands on the front of cybersecurity. They're one of the largest nation states that targets organizations across the entire globe. And so there's that. There's a slew of hostile nations, according to Secretary Mayorkas, including Russia and China, who have only become more sophisticated. Yep. Welcome to the party, Mayorkas. Where you been, man? 2 years. Well, we know this is coming, but then there's this news coming out of Germany, where the German cybersecurity chief was sacked over alleged Russia ties. So the German cybersecurity chief was sacked on Tuesday after a TV satire show accused him of having ties to Russian intel services, with the country on high alert for potential sabotage activities by Moscow. All right, so here's the deal. This didn't happen because of a satire TV show. He's been under investigation now for about a month, right? And he's the head of Federal Cybersecurity Authority, the BSI, in Germany. His name's Arnie Schönbaum. And there's been a lot of accusations around his alleged warm ties with Russian individuals, including the Russian Secret Service, and kind of the stuff that he's done over a period of time. So he's now been sacked, as there's just no trust between him and the German people, and obviously the German leadership. So with that being said, his ties got him taken out. And that's something to tell y'all about the state of zero trust. So guys, keep your eyes on this. This is only going to get more intense over time. So just be mindful of that, as well as we head into the winter season, and what I like to call the fourth quarter is typically where we see the most cybersecurity activity. It's where we typically, SolarWinds, Equifax, they all happen from September to December. That's just to go back, look at the charts. It's kind of like how when Apple's going to release products. There's an app that tells you Apple typically announces in August, releases in September. Well, same applies here. We're in that time of the year. So be very mindful. And it's only going to get worse from nation states as they start to look at that. And by the way, China's accused of targeting Tata Power. We talked about that yesterday on the show. So we're starting to see this kind of head out towards critical infrastructure. At some point, China or Russia or someone's going to take down some sort of power infrastructure that's going to require some sort of response, because people aren't just going to take it, and people are going to want a response, and that's just going to escalate it. So you've heard it here first. Folks, that's it for the show today. We'll be back with a whole lot more tomorrow to wrap up this week. Until then, have a great rest of your day, and most importantly, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.